Walking around an empty island for the first time is really exciting because you have a new opportunity to make a spectacular island, but it can also make you feel overwhelmed with how much work you have ahead of you to get it looking how you want. When you feel like this, it's all too tempting to simply give up on the island and move on to another one. However, without a solid plan of everything you need to make your island look its best, you'll stay stuck in this cycle. So where do you start with planning an island? How can you make sure you love what you're working on and that you'll finish the island? In this video, I'm going to show you some of the things I think about before I start decorating and share some tips with you to help you make stunning islands you love and won't reset. The first thing to think about during your island planning process is the theme you want for your island. There are so many different themes you can go for that help you design your island into almost anything you can think of. However, despite the seemingly unlimited possibilities, you may be tempted to stick to the same themes your favourite creators are doing. As a result, you end up doing the same seasonal themes over and over again and may feel pressured to complete the island by a certain date because, God forbid, you can't possibly do a Christmas island in August. If you haven't thought about your next theme, there are many different ways to get inspiration to narrow down your choice. If you're stuck for ideas, going onto social media to look for ideas is a great way to do it. You don't necessarily need to start looking for any particular style. General ideas at this stage is a great way to get inspiration. Think about the sorts of things you would like to try making on your island and search for those within Animal Crossing New Horizons on places like Reddit, Twitter, or Pinterest. Just a simple search like this will give you a ton of different ideas for different themes without you knowing exactly what theme the creator is going for. As you find things you like whilst you're searching, take screenshots of what you like so you can easily find these later and use these to create a mood board of things you like. This can be a great source of inspiration later if you start struggling to bring your ideas to life. An alternative to using social media is to visit dream addresses in the game. It doesn't matter if you're using a specific dream address you found online or if you've stumbled into a random DA that you like, there will be something that you can take inspiration from. Have a wander around and see if you can find something, even if it's a small build with 2 items and a custom code you like, and take screenshots of these for your mood board later. By visiting dream addresses in-game and taking screenshots like this, you'll have all the imagery you need saved on your Switch, so if you ever want to refer back to your images, all you need to do is go to your home screen and browse the photos you have on your Switch to see how other creators have put a build together. Once you've got some inspirational images together that you like and you start building out your mood board, now it's time to pay attention to the colour scheme that you want for your island. I like to think of my colour scheme as the backbone to my island. Although the theme you choose can help dictate the builds you eventually end up picking, the colour scheme you go for is the thing which will help your island stay cohesive when everything is next to each other. Bring out all of the imagery you have and place everything together in one place and take a look at everything you've got together. You may find that as you look through these images, there are a group of colours which stand out and work together that you like. These colours are going to be your colour scheme. Although you can put an island together with one colour and branch out to use different tones within that colourway, it's far more common for you to see islands which use 2 or more colours as part of the island's design. The reason for this is because it breaks up the monotony of just using one colour, and it can make your island look more appealing if you pick 2 or more colours which complement each other and work together. As a starting point, I would suggest picking at least 2 complementary colours as the basis for your island and add more colours in later to give further dimension to your island. Once you have your core colour scheme for your island, it then makes it easier to narrow down what styles you're going for within your theme and what you want your builds to look like. And if you keep these colours complementary, you'll find that your island stays looking cohesive as you start working on both your main builds and your transition areas. With your theme and colour scheme all sorted, you can now start looking to narrow down the sorts of builds you want to have on your island. Although it may be tempting to list out every single build you want on your island, you may find that you start running out of space for everything you want as you're putting things together, and as a result, you miss out something crucial for your island. To get around this, I like to think of 2 or 3 bigger or key builds that I want to match my theme, and I use these as the basis to work out what smaller builds I want to fill in the transition areas. Your bigger builds don't have to be overly complicated. What is considered a big build to one person could be a small build to someone else. If If you aren't particularly into your terraforming, you may see a big build as something which incorporates your villagers' houses or one of the other buildings you have on your island. If that's the case, add this into your plan instead. Or if you have a bigger idea that you want to use for a rock garden, plan this out, so you're going to need to move all of the rocks to be able to get them in the right spots to work with your decorating anyway. As a guide, I would say to have 2 or 3 bigger builds that you want to include and a couple of ideas for small builds which will help complement your theme and add story onto your island. With a rough idea of what you're going to be building on your island, you'll then start getting more direction as to how your theme is going to work and come together. Once you know what builds you're going with, you can then start thinking about the items you're going to need to make those builds and create a shopping list of core items which will direct visitors towards your overall theme. Take a look back at your mood board and see if there are items which are consistent in the screenshot. These common items are going to form the foundations of your island design, so now is the time to plan out what items you need and get them before you start decorating. Trust me when I say that it will save you a lot of time later if you've planned out what items you need and make as many Treasure Island runs as you can before you go into designing your island. Not only will you have things to work on the builds that you've planned, if inspiration suddenly strikes you to work on something else on your island, you'll already have items in your storage ready to go that you can use to fill out a space without having to waste time doing another Treasure Island run just to get a couple of items. Whilst you're drawing up your list of items, don't just think about the big pieces of furniture to make a build come together. Also look to get a load of smaller items that you can use to add extra details into your build. Although the bigger builds are what catches everyone's eye, using small items and putting together small builds in transition spaces makes it easier for people to tell what your theme is as they walk around your dream address. With builds and items planned, I then like to start looking at the custom codes I'm going to use on the island. Most of the time, when people think about custom codes, they mean looking at path codes, but there are so many different and unique designs that you can find to help bring your island to life. There are custom code outfits which add a unique layer into your island, and there are designs which are perfect to use to customize items and make your island look more unique within a general theme. Finding the right custom codes is a lengthy process in and of itself, and I'm working on a video at the moment explaining my full process for finding custom codes for a new island. So if you want to see that video when it goes live, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you see it as soon as it is available. For now, let's just say that social media is going to be your best friend here to find lots of different codes. And as you find things you like which fit back into your theme and colour scheme, save screenshots of these along with any creator codes or the creator if you found them on social media, so that if you need to find them later, you know where they are, and save these in a safe place so you can easily refer to them when you need to. With the bulk of designs planned out, there is one thing that I think you should have a think about before you go into designing your island, and that is what villagers you want. Although it is completely optional, a lot of Dream Address visitors will look at your list of villagers before they take a look around your island to get a sense of what theme you have before seeing it for themselves. So if you want to keep additional cohesion into your island, then it's worth picking your villagers in advance. If you're familiar with all the Animal Crossing villagers, then you may know some names straight off the bat which fit back into your theme and colour scheme already. But if you are less sure of who you want on your island, bring up a list of every villager in the game and take a look at photos of each of them next to your inspirational photos and any custom codes you have saved on your mood board. If they fit back into the style you have, add them into a potential dreamy list. Although 413 villagers is a lot to go through, you'll find yourself quickly ruling out villagers until you have a short list who will work with your theme. You don't need to know all 10 villagers you want off by heart. There may be about 15 which you think could work and you would be happy taking. Personally, I would have a slightly longer list of villagers you like, because it makes it easier when villager hunting to have slightly more flexibility in who you take. One thing that will make your villager hunting slightly quicker though is to check the personalities of the villagers you do shortlist. If any of these villagers are peppy, normal or lazy villagers, make a note of this, as when you do start villager hunting for the 3 numbered plots you need to place down, you'll only ever see these 3 personality types on a hunt. It will save you a lot of time on hunting, and you can spend the extra time decorating your island and making it perfect for a Dream Address release. Having a concrete plan before you go into decorating is really important to create a cohesive look to your island, but it's not the only thing you need to consider. If you want to bring your plans to life, having the perfect map layout can make a difference in having a stunning island at the end. And if you want some help to find that perfect island, watch this video next where I went through everything you need to know to find the ultimate island layout. And I'll see you over there.